You're watching The View from the Bay, live. Coming up next, managing your child's online identity. How to keep them protected without invading their space. Next, when The View from the Bay returns.
Well, today's kids are growing up in a computer-driven instant communication internet world, and they're creating online profiles at younger and younger ages. So how closely should parents monitor them? Here to help us out is Yahoo Web Life editor Heather Cabot and former ABC News anchor. Good to see you again, Heather.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's good to see you. But just before we went on, you were telling me a story that I think underscores the importance of these online privacy issues. Can you share that with us again?
Well, what I was saying was that a lot of times kids use the internet as an extension of their regular lives. In fact, they really don't make a distinction between it. And they think that when they're interacting with their friends, that it's private. Yeah. But as we know, nothing is really private on the internet. And so what I was telling you about was someone I know, our babysitter, who has a MySpace page that I just pulled up with a simple search using her real name. And, there were pictures of her and things that she may not want a future employer to see. I mean, nothing terrible, but the point is that, she's going to be graduating soon. And the point for all parents out there is that there are real-life, long-term consequences for things that kids do online, even if they're not bad. But it's just the idea of sharing this information with strangers, and you need to know how to protect that.
So let me ask you this. How much information is too much information for a kid to be posting on the online profile?
Well, number one, kids should not be using their real names, and you should help your child come up with an appropriate screen name, preferably gender-neutral. Nothing that's provocative, and of course, as kids get older, they want to experiment. If you can try to have a handle on that and know what their screen name is, that's going to help you monitor what they're doing. Also, no home addresses, no telephone numbers, no names of schools or locations of the school. And what's really important for parents to understand is that social networking really is social, and it should be for kids to interact with people they know. And so that's a big lesson for parents that I think really informs a lot of the thinking around this today, is that we need to be thinking about this new technology in terms of old-fashioned values. So we have conversations with little kids, our preschoolers, about stranger danger. What's appropriate information to share with someone you don't know? Well, those types of conversations translate to the internet. It's really not any different, and we need to continue to have that dialogue with our kids.
Okay, you have twins who are 2 years old. They're a little too young right now for online profiles, but if a parent is watching who has young children who want to start building an online profile, what specifically does the parent need to say to the kids about these privacy issues so the kids really understand how important they are?
Well, I think number one, first of all, children under 12 really shouldn't be building social profiles. They shouldn't be involved in social networking. However, there are games, for example, like Webkins, where there is a social component. A big part of this is that the parents are supervising what they're doing. So, and also the fact that you should just say that the computer should always be in a central place in your home so that you can be a part of it. And kids shouldn't be surfing online without supervision. It just, but I think that most importantly is that you have this conversation with them about, what does our family believe about, how much you should confide to a stranger. I want to know who your friends are. Encourage your child to make you part of what they're doing. And if you start doing that at age 6 or 7, when they start doing some of the initial stages of social networking, like using a game like Webkins, for example, you'll hopefully make an impression on them that they can continue to build on as they get more involved.
Should a mom have a page there that allows her to, oversee, I don't know, maybe oversee isn't the right word, but just monitor, I guess, what the kid is doing?
Well, it's a delicate issue. But one of the things you can do, especially if you're starting with younger kids, is, when they're hitting those tween years, is ask them if you can be a friend. Ask them if they can actually invite you to be part of their social networking group. And you can actually couch it in the sense of, I'm not going to be monitoring you, but I just want to be a part of what you're doing. I'm interested in what you're doing. You guys can even set boundaries. I'm only going to check it when I think I need to check it, or, I'll let you know before I check it. Or even just let them know, listen, I just want to be a part of this, so, if you ever need me, I'm here for you.
See, I think that's important, to say I want to be a part of it, so that doesn't sound like you're being invasive or intrusive or, spying on the kid. You just want to be connected with what your child is doing.
Right, and I think that's an easier conversation to have as they're getting into middle school versus if they're already in middle school and into high school. So once we're at that level where kids are heavily involved in social networking, you may not really know what they're doing. A really easy thing to do is to just put in their name into a search engine or their friends' names, and you'll be amazed at what pops up, because a lot of these kids don't understand how to use privacy settings. And all of these social networking sites allow kids to turn on and off their various aspects of their profiles. You can learn a lot by putting your child's name in, because you can see, as in the case of the babysitter, what the rest of the world is seeing.
Right.
And that's really important to explain to your child, that you know, you want to be discerning about what you're putting out there, because you don't know who's going to see it.
That's right. There are risks in putting too much of your personal information out there. Kids need to know that without scaring them to death, I guess.
Yeah, I think but again, it goes back to that same conversation of stranger danger. It's the way we approach it, and I think it's really empowering for parents to know that it's these old-fashioned values that we've all grown up with, just in a new world. And I would just add that if people want more information, they can go to kids.yahoo.com for a parents' resource guide that's fabulous.
Excellent. Heather Cabot, thank you so much. You're very useful information.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you again. And coming up next, grilled flatbread pizza.